What is up, guys? I'm your friendly neighborhood web war fanatic, and one of the coolest things about Marvel Champions is that it's super thematic. So even though you're just flipping these cardboard cards, you actually feel like the hero that you're playing. I recently did a video doing a hero tier list for all the most thematic heroes in Marvel Champions, and I got suggestion from Literature Wizard who wanted to hear about the most thematic matchups in Marvel Champions. We can pick the heroes, we can pick the villain, and pick the modules to make very fun and thematic games to replicate stuff in the comics and in the movies. So yeah, that's what this video is all about. I'll be going over the top 10 most thematic games that I've ever played, and I played them on the channel here as well. So let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. The first most thematic match that I played is this two-handed game right here, where I played as Captain America and Winter Soldier, and we took on Iron Man here with every single Thunderbolt module in the game of Marvel Champions. There are 10 Thunderbolt modules right now with the Elite Thunderbolt minions, and it's very thematic in the comics because Iron Man here during the Civil War storyline, he used the Thunderbolts here and commanded them and had them do stuff. So Captain America, Winter Soldier here for a thematic Civil War battle. So we did play a protection deck here for Captain America using a perfect defense, and we have Winter Soldier playing in aggression. And just in case you guys aren't familiar with how these Thunderbolt modules work, they're all Elite Thunderbolt minions, and they have at least 14 printed hit points, so a ton of hit points here. And we're gonna get through all these Elite minions before we're gonna take on Iron Man, because for some reason I also chose the main scheme that gives each minion guard. So we can't attack Iron Man until we defeat all of these Thunderbolts, put him into victory display, and this was a super duper difficult game. Captain America was very clutch and perfect defense because we eventually had to get Excelsior, as you guys can see right here. So each time he defends, we can do 2 damage to an enemy by spending an energy resource, and that was like the only way to take out all of the Thunderbolts one by one. Moonstone right there. Let's jump over a little bit in the game. We have Songbird, we have Blizzard right here. I think Atlas was like one of the worst ones. I think he came a little bit earlier in the game. We have Joystick right here. So yeah, defeating each one of them until we can finally defeat Iron Man. And I really enjoyed this matchup because Iron Man's kit works so well with the Thunderbolts because he really builds himself out with like his boots, his gaunts, all that stuff. And while you're trying to prioritize dealing with the Thunderbolt minions, you also have to leave that kind of stuff on Iron Man, and he gets +1 scheme for each tech attachment he has. So if you let him like build up all those tech attachments, I mean, he goes crazy. But then if you want to prioritize getting rid of the tech attachments, you have to spend resources, and you may have to keep those Thunderbolts around for a little bit longer, which can also be very difficult. So yeah, this was a 3-hour game. I think this was the longest game I've ever played, ever, at least by myself, you know, playing a two-handed game. So yeah, this was super duper tough, but yeah, very thematic here, taking on all the Thunderbolts and Iron Man. The next thematic matchup that I played is going to be here, playing a true solo game with the Thor hero against Thanos. And this was very thematic here because we recruited the Loki minion, the nemesis of Thor, to help us out with redemption. So that's very thematic. Played a face of pass right here to bring our brother Loki out. And then after we bring Loki out, we play the Show of Empathy side scheme, which literally has Thor and Loki on the art of the card. You know, we clear off enough threat here to turn Loki into our ally so that he stays in a game working with Thor to team up against Thanos there. Super duper thematic. At some point, Loki got defeated, and he came back out here as a minion at some point in the game. Yeah, so he came back out here as a minion, so he betrayed Thor again. This was a very fun true solo game here with Thor and Loki teamed up on Thanos, but then Loki betrays Thor, and then tries to fight Thor here with Thanos. So yeah, typical Loki shenanigans. The next thematic matchup that I played on the channel is inspired by the Deadpool and Wolverine movie that recently came out. So right during the time that this movie came out, I was like, I gotta do a two-handed game playing these two heroes. So there's a card in Marvel Champions called Children of the Atom, which if you play this upgrade, if you have the X-Men, X-Force, or X-Factor traits, you gain the X-Men, X-Factor, and X-Force traits. So in Marvel Champions, Deadpool has the X-Force trait, but he does not have the X-Men trait. But if he has control of Children of the Atom, he also will gain that X-Men trait. Well, I played this game before Children of the Atom came out in Marvel Champions, but I really wanted to make Deadpool into an X-Men here to team up with Wolverine because I thought that that would be very thematic. So of course we are taking on Magneto here, And these decks were crazy. So Deadpool had like Utopia and X-Jet, but he can't actually use it by himself until Wolverine gives him an Honored X-Men and makes him into X-Men, right? So Deadpool had a lot of like the cards here for X-Men, but he actually can't use it unless he's teaming up with Logan with this Wolverine deck right here. So we played Deadpool Protection, and then Wolverine in leadership to pass out all the stuff for Deadpool. So Wolverine also had the Uncanny X-Men. This really felt like a fun way for me to reenact that Deadpool and Wolverine movie. The next thematic matchup that I have here is, of course, Spider-Man, and we're playing against Green Goblin Mutation Formula. But for Super Theme, we actually played this with no allies here, which I think is very thematic to Spider-Man because he often works alone. And this was inspired by the new show, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That got me super duper hyped to see some more Spider-Man cartoons. So in this game, we had no allies in the deck. And the only way to do that, I think, is either by rushing the villain down or with a perfect defense build. So we had the perfect defense stuff there. Hard to ignore is Defiance and just Peter Parker solo here. Of course, Aunt May is going to be our personal support to help us out. But we got swarmed with so many Goblin minions right here. Oh man, Vulture coming out here as I speak. Highway robbery. Everything's going wrong here. And yeah, it's just Peter Parker by himself taking on all these nasty goblins along with the Vulture. This was a super duper fun game, not using any allies and just defending a lot and doing damage, from defending. So yeah, I highly recommend this matchup for you guys, especially if you love Spider-Man and Green Goblin. The next thematic matchup here, we played another no ally game with Nightcrawler against Magneto. This isn't the most thematic matchup here for Nightcrawler to be going solo against Magneto, but it felt really cool to take on a very difficult villain like Magneto, on expert mode, playing with no allies, which Nightcrawler can definitely do with his defensive kit. So we use another perfect defense build here, and yeah, it is crazy to be able to take on Magneto, one of the strongest villains in the game of Marvel Champions. We got seized here as well, and we had no allies in deck slowly building out. We did have the X-Jet, but the only person in the X-Jet was Nightcrawler, right? No one else helped him out, and eventually we were able to build our board. Not here, because we're stunning confused and still don't have much here, but eventually we're able to get decently built out, and we're able to take Magneto down. A lot of the BAMs here jumping all over the place to block Magneto's attacks and avoid them so we don't take any damage. And yeah, this was another super duper difficult game, but it felt very fun and very thematic. The next thematic game here that I have is Hulk versus Juggernaut. Two massive brutes here, and they battled a lot, in the comics. So yeah, this was also a very fun game. I think that Juggernaut is actually a great challenge here for Hulk, because Hulk is not one of the strongest heroes in the game, but he's able to be an alter ego a lot against Juggernaut, because Juggernaut, whenever he schemes out, you don't lose the game, right? You're allowed to let Juggernaut scheme out, who just attack you. Well, Hulk has 18 printed hit points, so he can take those attacks to the face. Not too much of a problem here. So I believe I played a leadership deck here, playing as Hulk, trying to get built out as soon as possible. And then right after we were able to do that, jump a little bit further in the game, we got our genius people out here. Then we just start Hulk smashing, and then we take the Juggernaut down. So yeah, a very fun matchup with two super jacked dudes. The next thematic matchup that I have here is their two-handed gameplay. Oftentimes, two-handed allows for more theme because you can pick two heroes instead of just one and have their themes, be paired up well with each other and against a villain here. So in this game, I played double protection. I love playing, the same aspect in multiplayer games. So yeah, this is Spider-Man Miles Morales and Ghost Spider Gwen Stacy, both playing in protection because they're both protecting each other constantly here during this game against Norman Osborn with Flight. Flight, I think, is very thematic to Green Goblin because, he has his glider. And this Flight module here is also one of the worst modules in the entire game because it's a permanent setup attachment that gives a villain overkill. So every single attack, Green Goblin has overkill here. And this was a super duper difficult game here. We can jump in. And we had the Young Love team up. Of course, we had to use that. We're able to use that, I think, a few times here, which was tons of fun. But getting swarmed here with these goblins and not able to chump block much because of this Flight right here. So the allies didn't do as much as we wanted. It's really just Gwen and Miles here, and they got each other's backs. They are, a young love couple. So yeah, this was tons of fun as well. The next thematic matchup that I have here is a what if battle here where we gave Ultron the Infinity Gauntlet. This was inspired by Marvel's What If series on Disney Plus. I really enjoyed season 1. I don't remember what happens in season 2, and I don't even know if there's a season 3. But season 1 was awesome. So yeah, we played Black Panther here because Ultron, he's made of vibranium. So of course, Black Panther, the vibranium master, had a lot of fun taking this matchup down. And we played this in my favorite way to play Black Panther, which is with aggression. We got Black Panther built out here with the Yarm, with the hand cannon, and it has other weapons too with his energy daggers and his Panther claws. So just a bunch of weapons here for Black Panther for us to exhaust with stuff like firepower to do extra damage here to take out Ultron even with the Infinity Gauntlet. So this was also another super fun and thematic matchup. The ninth thematic matchup that I played here is another two-handed game playing as Captain America and Wolverine against the Red Skull. Super duper fun thematic game, traveling back in time to World War II, where Captain America and Wolverine teamed up here. And this was also a custom gameplay request from one of my channel members, Nar Antlers. So huge shouts to Nar Antlers for his custom gameplay request. I had a little fun here with the thumbnail, putting in some different art for this. So yeah, this was also a super difficult game. Red Skull surprisingly was very difficult here, really pumping up those side skins and everything. And then we played as Wolverine, Captain America, the two bros, and Aggression Wolverine and Protection Captain America. And eventually we're able to take down the Red Skull here and his evil ways. So yeah, this was also another very fun game. The final and one of the most thematic games I've ever played is super simple. We didn't add in any special modules or anything like that. It's just Tony Stark Iron Man playing against Thanos right here. Very simple. It's iconic, guys. This was, Endgame, Infinity War all over again. Very fun. I love this game and it felt super epic just to build out as Tony Stark Iron Man. You start off with nothing. You have your one card hand size in hero form, slowly building out that entire board so that we can finally take on the big bad Thanos right here near the end of the game. Iron Man using all his tech with the repurpose build, a bunch of tech shenanigans, and yeah, that rounds out my list for the top 10 most thematic games that I played. Let me know down in comments what you guys think about my list, and let me know down in comments what is the most thematic game you've ever played. Because in Marvel Champions, there's so many cool things that you can do. I'm sure that I'm missing a ton of really fun and thematic games. So yeah, I hope you guys all like this video, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.